Hello everybody. Review for Matrices Quiz, and I just want to apologize for the errors on the answers. I'll try not to make those same errors here. On the quiz there are 15 questions, 7 on the non-calculator and 8 obviously on the calculator part. So the non-calculator part is pretty much what you see here. All the same stuff. Interpreting some meaning of some matrices, interpreting positions on the matrix, matrix operations, add, subtract, multiply, inverse determinant of a 2x2. So that's what you can expect. So this, of course, is not fires. Sorry, this is supposed to say fries. So we've got drinks and fries at a local food truck. And, of course, this is supposed to be lined up a little bit better. That didn't happen. So the dimensions of R, make sure when you give the dimensions, right, you go down then across. So this matrix is a 2x3 matrix. Medium fries, of course, are $7.25. And for number 3, 1-3 is wrong on the answers, but if we go down 1 and over 3, it's actually right on the answer. Sorry, I was looking at the other one. This is that a large drink cost $7.50. Now this is how the quiz will be set up, where you'll just be given a bunch of matrices to use, and you use those same matrices over and over again. If it's not possible to do the operation, then just write that it's not possible. You can show as much or as little work as you need. Some of these obviously don't require much work at all. A plus B, just make sure you check out the dimensions. This is a 2x2, this is a 2x2, so it is possible to add since they match. And when you add, of course, they stay in the same position. So 2 plus -1. -3 plus 2 is -1. Down the lower left, we'll add these up. And the lower right-hand corner, we add those together. For subtracting, please make sure you do this in order. The order matters on subtracting. Order matters on multiplying as well. So this is a 2x3. D is also a 2x4, and D is a 2x4. So we can add or subtract these, I should say. So again, make sure you go this way. So 5 minus 3, 4 minus -2 is 6, 0 minus 1, 1 minus 2. In the bottom, we get 5, -3 minus 0, 4 minus 5, and -2 minus a -1. Determinant, you can only do by hand the determinant or the inverse of a 2x2. So if you're asked to do anything else, it is not going to be possible for you to do that. Don't be fooled. Don't let the dimensions think you can do something you can't. So if we have this matrix, remember this is not area. Do not take half. So we're doing the determinant of this matrix. I guess just use the right symbol. So we would have -1. Oops, sorry, we would not have -1 there. 0 minus 6, so the determinant is -6. And that is, of course, wrong on the answer sheet, but it is -6. 3 times matrix A, just take every element in the matrix and multiply by 3. So 6, -9, 0, and 12. Write it as a matrix, please. A times B, I have the answer right on the back, but I had one mistake on the work. Not sure how that happened. So let me write this out, and we'll go through the process if you need to see this one. So this is a 2x2 multiplied by another 2x2, which is, of course, allowed because these dimensions match. Remember, you go across one matrix and then down the second matrix. I'm going to take up some space here. So we're going to go 2 times -1. Remember, we're going down. We're going down this one, so then it's going to be plus -3 times 3. So we're done with that one. Now we're going to go down this one, still across the top. So 2 times 2 plus -3 times 0. Now we're done with this top, And we're going to go back over here, of course, to the first one. So 0 times -1 plus 4 times 3. And we're done now with this. And now we just have the last combination. 0 times 2 plus 4 times 0. And when we add all this, do all this arithmetic, sorry, I'm going to move up here for my solution just for space. We end up with -2 minus 9, so this is -11. I did have a tiny mistake there, but the answer is right, so this is a 4. This is -1 plus 12, so this is 0 plus 12. Sorry, I'm struggling with my zeros. And then this is 0 plus 0. So that is the solution. CD, just lost my dimensions. C is a 2 by 4. And D is a 2 by 4. And of course these dimensions do not match, so this is not possible. And the inverse of A. So the first thing with the inverse is you have to find the determinant. Unfortunately, I asked for the determinant of B, so we still have to find the determinant of A. So the determinant is going to be 8, because you go on that first diagonal, minus 0. So our determinant is 8. So for the inverse, the first, I'm trying to keep track of matrix A up there in the corner. So now we're going to have 1 over the determinant. I'm way up here now. I'm up here in the upper left-hand corner. On this first diagonal, the 2 and the 4, they get switched. On the other diagonal, you do the opposites. There's no opposite for 0. Then your final step would be to distribute the 1/8 and reduce all fractions, please. So this is 4/8, 3/8, 0/8, and 2/8. And that is the inverse. So all of that will be on the non-calculator portion. And now we start the calculator part of the quiz. So calculator from now on, maybe you don't even need the calculator, but you have the calculator available to you. There are 2 questions like these with the variables. It's on the calculator part just in case you need help with the arithmetic, but because of the variables, you almost can't use the calculator. So we have 5 equals -4x. So x is equal to -5/4. Then we have -3x is equal to 5y. So I'm going to take out that x and put in the -5/4. So we get 15/4 is equal to 5y. And then I'm just going to multiply both sides by 1/5 because I think it's a little bit easier with the fractions. And this reduces to a 3. So this is how we get, and this is a mess, sorry, that y is equal to 3/4. X is -5/4. For number 12, x is equal to 5y. Not much you can do with that. I mean, it's simplified. And then we have y plus 3 is equal to x plus 7. Well, x is 5y, so y plus 3 is equal to 5y plus 7. Subtract the 3, subtract the 5y. Ooh, sorry, lost track of my y. I don't know what happened there. So then we get y equals -1. Well, if y equals -1, then x is equal to -5. All right, so now we're going to use this one triangle. You will be given the reflection and the rotation matrices, so you don't have to know that. It says write and simplify a matrix sum. So let's write the triangle as a matrix: -4, 2, -1, 5, and 3, 7. Oops, there's no line there. Now we're going to, you can write it as a difference if you'd rather, but I'm going to write it as a sum. So if we're moving it 3 up, that's your y value, so the 3's are on the bottom, and 4 units left. The idea is that you make your matrices be the same dimensions. If we're adding or subtracting, if that's 2 by 3, you must also make another 2 by 3. It just says to write and simplify a matrix sum. It does not say write these as coordinates. So we'll just simplify this a little bit. And then the last one is negative 1, 10. Write and simplify a matrix product to reflect over the x-axis of the answer. All right, so we're going to start where we left off. The reflection matrix you get off the formula sheet, which is this one. And we're going to multiply that by the solution that we just got, negative 8, 5, negative 5, 8, negative 1, 10. Please be so careful with your operations on this. And then when you multiply it, you can put it in the calculator. You can make some sense out of it. Maybe you don't even need the calculator. Maybe you don't even need to multiply. Doesn't matter to me. Because sometimes it's just easier to make sense over reflecting over the x-axis. When you reflect over the x-axis, you change the sign on the y. And so that's how that works. Now we're going to write and simplify triangle ABC with a rotation around the origin, 90 degrees. Doesn't say what direction, so assume that it's the direction on the formula sheet. So here is our rotation 90 from the formula sheet. We're back to the original triangle. And if you can make sense out of it, great. If you need to put it in the calculator and multiply, of course, you'll be able to do that. So the points are 2, 4, 5, 1, and 7, negative 3. Area of triangle ABC. So we're going back to the original. One vertex is not at the origin. I'm going to write out these corners again. So we have a point at negative 4, 2, another point at negative 1, 5, and another point at 3, 7. Your first task is to move one corner to the 0, 0. So I'm going to just move the first one because it's first. So that's the pattern that will make this at 0, 0. So then you follow that pattern. Add 4, subtract 2. So this is 3, 3. Add 4, subtract 2. Oops. So this is 7, 5. It is those 2 points, not the 0, 0, that you will use to find the area. Area is determinant. Please use the correct notation. On the embedded assessment lab, you just had matrices there. This is going to be, now you know you don't have to go across. We can set these up the same. We can go down or you can go across. Determinant, it doesn't matter. So we're going to have half of 15 minus 21. Right, because you go in this direction first. That's 15 minus 21. You'll have your calculator. So if you don't want to do the determinant, you don't have to at this point. You just write down the answer. This is going to be negative 6. And of course, we'd never want a negative value. So it is 3 units squared. Now this one does have an answer that's incorrect. It's in the wrong order. So I apologize for that. It's a little bit confusing if I do it wrong. When you do this, you want to have you want to have the original matrix first. Something's happening. And I did not have that on the back on the answers. So find your inverse. How you want to do that is up to you. Do it by hand or type it in, your matrix to the negative 1 or give it a name and use that. So whether you use alpha zoom or not, that's completely up to you. So if you don't want to do the matrix or do the inverse by hand, then don't. But the order needs to be not the order that I have on the answer sheet. The first matrix needs to be your original, negative 4, 5, negative 1, 3. Then comes the inverse. So I have those switched. I have a little arrow indicating that. I apologize. This is your inverse. And you have the calculator. You might as well use the calculator. Then after that comes your variables, equal sign, inverse again, negative 3/7, 5/7, negative 1/7, 4/7. Then the constants, 29, there's no line there, sorry, I always do that, I make it like a fraction, 29 and 9. Now if you want to use the inverse to get your solution, this is the part that you multiply. This side gives you the identity matrix times the variable. So we know that it's x equals and y equals. It is this side over here that gives you the answer. And again, when you give the answer, please don't write it as a matrix. Interpret your answer. X is equal to -6, and y is equal to 1. Now, in addition to this, there are 2 questions about writing and solving an augmented matrix. No story problems, just straight up, hey, here's some equations, write an augmented matrix and solve them. Now, this next question we've kind of talked a lot about. Oh, there it is, sorry. I thought I lost it. It says, if the inverse of a coefficient matrix does not exist, so the inverse does not exist, what do you know about the solutions? If you cannot find the inverse, then the solutions cannot be determined. Can't be determined. Do not commit to all reals or no solution, especially in this one, because we don't even have any equation. So we're just going to go with the generic, we don't know. Now, these 2 story problems, there's actually only 1 story problem on the quiz. And it's broken down into these same parts: equations, augmented matrix, and your answer. Your answer is not another matrix. Your answer is, you know, I need 5 buttons and 7 notebooks or whatever. So here we have teacher with groups. Some groups can have 3, some can have 4. There's 8 groups in all for a class of 27. So in the class, you are either in a group of 3 or a group of 4, and there are a total of 8 groups. These are my groups. But in terms of the total number of people, there are 27 people in the room. We're not separating them by anything other than, are they in a group of 3 or are they in a group of 4? So this is quantity. So 3 people are in a group of 3, and 4 people are in a group of 4, quite simply. So those are the equations. Write and solve the augmented matrix. So we have the augmented matrix is 1, 1, 8, and 3, 4, 27. Put the dotted line there or not, that's up to you. Put this in the calculator, RREF, your augmented matrix, and get the answer. Do not write down your answer. The answer does look like this, though. And we get like this, I think, 5 and a 3. So you don't need to write that out. Even if you do write it out, you still need to answer part C with actual answers. So 5 was X, and X goes with groups of 3. So there are 5 groups of 3. And then, of course, there are 3 groups of 4. And if you multiply that out, it should add up to 27. So 15 and 3 times 4 is 12. It does add up to the total number of people. And 5 and 3 are 8 groups. So all of the arithmetic works, which is nice. This next one has a little bit more information in it. So we'll have maybe we'll have an extra equation somewhere. So we have 20 individual event placers earning a combined total of 68 points. So we had 20 people, and a person can either finish first, second, or third. And there's 20 people. Those are not points. That's just counting. So now if we do the points, first place gets 5 points. So first place I'm calling F. So 5 points for first. Second place gets third, or second place gets 3 points, so 3S. And third place gets 1 point, so plus T. And we have a total of 68 points. The last sentence here, North had as many second place finishers as first and third combined. So second is equal to first plus third. Now the augmented matrix, we're going to have to adjust this equation right here, because it has to be it has to be F. So we want to make sure you move this over. So we're going to have negative F, and then the S stays where it is. The T moves over, and then of course we move everything out of the way, and that's a 0. So that's the actual correct way to write that for our matrix. So if we write the augmented matrix, it's 1, 1, 1. Here's the equal sign, 20. 5, 3, 1, 68. And then negative 1, 1, negative 1, 0. Be very careful when typing these in. One sign mistake is going to give you completely the wrong answer. Sorry, I thought I had negative 68 for some reason, but I don't. All right, so then when you get the answer, we get 7. So the first number is a 7. So we get F equals 7. Please don't write that. I mean, you can if that helps you, but it was 7 first place. Put in what F stands for, or whatever you use. S stood for second place, and we had 10 of these. So 10 second place. And then we got T, the last number, which was 3. So there are 3 third place finishers. And that's what I mean by interpret your solution. Put the words back in, and there's, like I said, one story problem like this.